Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here, looking at another manga and Western comic. Let's do the Batman comic first. So this is from Walmart. This was the issue that sold the whole package, so it's really important which one you put at the front. Batman Adventures, I think, were the first comics I started collecting when I finally got back into reading comics again and buying my own comics as an adult. The Batman the Animated Series, it's iconic. It was a lot of people's introduction to Batman. If you were familiar with Batman, it kind of reintroduced you to Batman. And the strength of that series is their ability to take lots of different Batman stories and grab the best bits and pieces out of that to make a really sweet Batman package. I think that's the key ingredient of any successful adaptation is you have to pay attention to the source material and what made the source material work. Like it's so obvious when you think about it. If so many people love this story, figure out what makes it a good story and grab onto that little nugget and then add your little inspiration on top of it. So Alan Burnett and Paul Dini are the writers, and Ty Templeton, who has done Batman Adventures before and really captures the style. This team has been working on these books for a while, and I think Batman the Adventures Continue is a newer series, still adding kind of like new adventures that could fit within that animated universe. And what's interesting about this is this introduces Jason Todd and Red Hood, which people would watch the series and wonder about that. Was there a Jason Todd? We just didn't see him. Whose costume is that? And this introduces Jason Todd, and they do that smart thing again, where they look at the Jason Todd character, they take some bits and pieces of him from his past appearances, and then they try to make him work within the animated series universe. So one problem with the Jason Todd Red Hood character is there isn't a Red Hood identity in the animated series. So what's the point of Jason Todd calling himself the Red Hood? In the original comics, the point of it is as a nod to the Joker, or as a way of saying, I'm coming for the Joker's legacy. In this, they have to find its own significance for it. So after Batman identifies the Red Hood, Alfred tells Tim Drake the story of who Jason Todd was. And there's this really clever idea that in the old comics, Jason Todd was like a criminal kid who Batman caught him stealing the Batmobile's tires. That's a nice, memorable introduction. But for the Adventure series, we gotta rework it. So in this, there was a street gang called the Wolves, and their initiation rite was the newest member had to wear a red hood. So it was like the big bad wolf and the little Red Riding Hood, and the Red Hood had the worst job of the lot. They had to keep lookout, and they were the most likely to be caught. And Jason Todd's older brother dies while being a Red Hood. He takes a fatal flaw. So for Todd, the Red Hood becomes a symbol of revenge for the crooks who he blames for killing his brother. Then, of course, Batman takes Jason Todd under his wing. Just like in the old continuity, these warning signs are there that Jason Todd is disrespectful to authority and has anger issues. Batman is unwilling to accept this at first. He's unwilling to believe this of Jason Todd. So he looks for a innocent explanation. Oh, he tried to kill the Scarecrow. Well, maybe he breathed in some of the Scarecrow's fear toxin which triggered a flight or fight. Instinct in him, right? So what's great is they're also capturing the idea of Jason Todd as Batman's greatest failure, both in the old comics he died, and that Batman failed to see his moral weaknesses as a son. So again, this gets to play up Batman as a father figure, but as a father figure who can't. When a father can't communicate moral ideas to his son and raise a good son, that's hell for a father. I also like the detail that they made Jason Todd a brunette to visually distinguish him from Tim Drake and Dick Grayson. That's just some smart character design. This all builds up to a dramatic confrontation between Batman and Jason Todd, the Red Hood, where Jason Todd makes this great point that Batman would have been a smart enough detective to figure out I had problems, but Bruce Wayne wasn't a good enough detective because Bruce was led by emotion. And this is great because this gets at a really important part of Batman's self-identity, which is that he looks at Batman in the animated series, he looks at Batman as his true identity or who he truly is. And Bruce is the false front he gives to the world. And Jason's taking that and turning it on his head and saying that the Bruce, or the loving, fatherly aspect of your character, has undermined you as like the legendary warrior on evil type of character. And he even underscores this by making the point, hasn't it occurred to you that there's a lot of alcohol in this deserted bar? And then he blows the place up. So leaves you off with a it leaves you off, thrilled to know what happens next, but it's a completely self-contained story that explains everything you need to know about Jason Todd if you had absolutely no Jason Todd in this one issue. Fantastic. All of the Adventures comics I've read have been very high quality. Lots of great little nuggets for fans of the cartoon and fans of Batman in general. All right, Pokemon Adventures number 3, one of my absolute favorite series to recommend to parents who are interested in comics and manga. It's all ages appropriate, but it doesn't. It still includes like elements of danger and adventure that I think would really appeal both to a young reader and an older reader. It has a lot of punch, even to me as an adult fan of manga. So, hopping into it, the theme of the Pokemon Adventures series is they do a really good job of taking loose inspiration from the games, but not letting the games dictate everything for them. So obviously in an RPG you take turns, right? Well, that's no fun for an adventure story. So they have to add like a dimension of how would it really work if you had Pokemon in real life. You probably wouldn't follow JRPG mechanics. So how's it going to work? So thing number one is Blue's a really great character in this series. He's just kind of like the jerk you beat up in the games, but here he's a cool and blue counterpoint to the fiery hot Red. And what's really sweet about this is this gets into maybe one of the most important aspect of rivalry relationships, is that iron sharpens iron. Both of them make the other person better. So Blue, being a cool thinker, thinks that Red is just going to get in his way, and he's going to invade Saffron Town and take on Team Rocket. And the two of them are so stupid that they both have figured out one piece of the puzzle. Red's figured out how to infiltrate the shield. Blue's figured out how to identify where the bad guys are, but Red can't see where they are. If they weren't being stupid boys, they'd figure this out. And Green, of course, being the minxish little femme fatale, she kind of like wakes them up to how stupid they're being. So this is great. They're a great trio in that both the boys are sort of philosophical and moral counterpoints to one another, and then the girl's role is to kind of come in and wake the both of them up and realize that they're being dumb. I also really like this idea with substitution. So the substitution move in Pokemon, you just put a little like doll in front of your Pokemon, and that's supposed to absorb damage for you. And here they have the bright idea that it's actually like an energy clone that can move and fight independently. So that's how Red is able to get past the psychic barrier. So that's really clever stuff. Then with some of the gym leaders that they have become bad guys and join Team Rocket, they do creative stuff like when you join Team Rocket, you don't have to follow the rules anymore. You can be a dirty, stinking cheater, and being a dirty, stinking cheater makes you feel powerful. So Lieutenant Surge comes in with all of these Pokemon he's using as literal weapons, and I love this. He keeps boasting about his insulated underwear over and over again, which is why he doesn't get electric shocks. But the key point is, for an evil character, having them disrespect the rules of Pokemon battles is a great symbolic way of showing that dirty scallywags don't care about fighting fair. They don't care about the rules of society. They just want what is in their own selfish interest. So that's why they're dirty, stinking cheaters. That's great stuff. And Red consistently has a very strong idea of fair play throughout this, even to the point where Team Rocket thinks he's quite naive. I marked this page because we see Articuno come back as a threat to the team. Oh yeah, the other reason I marked this is I completely forgot this about the games, but in the games, when you collect the badges, it's actually supposed to give your Pokemon a stat boost, and the game developers use it as a way to keep you from cheating. So if you tried to trade powerful Pokemon to yourself really early on in the game, they wouldn't listen to you because you hadn't collected the badges yet. So here they come up with, they pick up on that detail from the game and say that means the badges are important. They have an ability basically to increase the energy of Pokemon, so we're going to make them like a central plot point where Team Rocket plans to use the badges to control a super powerful, like, it was really weird. They, like, melted the 3 legendary bird Pokemon into one super united Pokemon. So they also just do, like, really creative, crazy ideas that have nothing to do with the game. This is also neat. Red is the last trainer to evolve his Pokemon into the final form, right? So the other 2 are ahead of him. He's the underdog. He's behind. But he evolves his Pokemon at the exact most dramatic time to do so, for the final strike on the bad guys, with all 3 of the starter Pokemon gathered together for an ultimate united attack. They know how to do fan service for people who are fans of different Pokemon. So if you're a fan of Bulbasaur, that's great because he's the central Pokemon that Red picked. But if you like the other 2, they get their moment in the sun as well. So that's a neat idea. Another departure is in the game you have to wait until the very, very end to capture Mewtwo. And in this, they have Red confront Mewtwo before he even confronts Giovanni or the Elite Four. So it's much earlier. Again, it's a chance to underscore Red's compassion for Pokemon, where Blaine has repented of working with Team Rocket. He feels guilt over unleashing Mewtwo on the world. And he's afraid he's going to die because of his experiments with Mewtwo, also giving Blaine some kind of disease. So Blaine's idea is Mewtwo could kill everyone on this planet. I've got to take him out, no matter what the cost. And Red, being compassionate, wants to find a way to capture Mewtwo and show him some love, right? Again, really inventive stuff with the moves. That's one of my favorite consistent things about this, is they just do really inventive stuff with the moves in Pokemon to make them more interesting in a real-life type scenario. So Mewtwo can use Psywave like a massive cyclone. Basically, it's offense and defense combined into one, where if he's up against a large group of foes, he just blows them all away with a strong wind. If he's faced against one foe, he switches to using a spoon as a physical weapon. And they even kind of lampshade how goofy that is, but you read Mewtwo as a really dangerous threat. And so Ash's bright idea is, well, when he has the spoon, I can't fight him one-on-one, so I'll trick him into putting up the Cyclone to blast away a whole bunch of Pokemon, and then Pikachu's small, so I'll put the Master Ball in Pikachu's mouth to get him close to Mewtwo. Again, that's so smart, because in the game you just throw the Master Ball at Mewtwo, it catches him. That would be really anticlimactic. So the brilliant idea is, well, sure, the Master Ball can catch Mewtwo, but that doesn't mean you're guaranteed to hit Mewtwo if you throw the Master Ball at him. So they're adding drama. They're adding drama by thinking realistically about how this would work in real life if you had these superpowered monsters fighting each other. So it's exactly the right kind of departure from the source material you need to add some drama. Why did I mark this? Okay, now that Red has been all of these adventures, they give him a story where he gets to, like, save a little girl and introduce her to Pokemon, right? So now he's older, he's more mature, he's learned a lot. Now he gets to have a moment where kids look up to him and think he's super cool, and he can show how he's grown. Again, this is such great writing. So when Red finally comes face to face with Giovanni, there have been little hints of Giovanni throughout the series so far, and Giovanni makes the point that I am much more practiced than you are. So in the time it takes you to grab the Pokeball off of your belt, he's basically a quick draw. He snatches a ball off the ground, releases his Pokemon, and attacks. So his point is, it doesn't matter how strong your Pokemon are. I'm just 10 times faster than you. And after, I want you to notice the pattern. If you were just following the game, it would be his turn, his turn, his turn, his turn. That's so boring. But instead they make it a contest of wills and talent between the two people, not just their monsters. Now, how is Red going to defeat someone like that? He has to defeat him at his own game. So Giovanni says, by the time you draw Pikachu, I'll have already attacked you, because you won't have time to grab your Pokeball and have Pikachu charge his attack. So Red's bright idea is, I will have Pikachu charge his attack while he's in the Pokeball. Well, you can't do that. You get electrocuted. He has a glove that insulates him from electricity because he got it from Lieutenant Surge earlier. That's such good writing because it all ties together with a pretty Christmas bow. That's genius. That's genius. And he comes up with a creative solution to a simple problem. How do you remove a step out of the process that's slowing you down? Also... I realize that, of course, there are a lot of people thirsty for Professor Oak on the internet. This manga is Professor Oak is such a Chad in this manga. Look at those shoulders. So he shows up as like the masked Dr. O to test their talents, and he has a battle with Green, the femme fatale who stole a Pokemon from him, and it gets to kind of reinforce Professor Oak is like the coolest granddad ever, where he like beats her soundly in a Pokemon battle to teach the naughty girl a lesson. But then after she's cried and she's learned her lesson about how stealing is wrong, he's super supportive to her and he validates her and he tells her that she can be a Pokemon trainer too. What a great dad. I want to find the pic of him where he's looking like such a Chad in the changing room. Look at that. Look at that smart aleck. He knows that that's the face of a 60-year-old man who knows he's still a ladies' man. What a great character. Flashing forward, the battle between Ash and Red. Again, out of sequence with the video game. Ash fights Red fights Blue before he faces the Elite Four. But they get to underscore the point that these are two boys with a different outlook and a different approach to life, who, because of their rivalry, have learned from one another. So Red was always the more compassionate one. Blue was always the more of a hard ass. Red was a bit more chipper and a bit more fly by the seat of his pants. Blue is a bit more methodical and calculating. And both of them have learned the best traits of their rival and incorporated that into their fighting style. Blue isn't as willing to fight his Pokemon to the bitter end now because he realizes they have feelings and he wants to earn their love and respect, not just work them to death. Red has learned to prepare a little bit more and mix some of that preparation in with his instinctive fighting style. And then Blue does some instinctive fighting as well, doing some creative stuff like instead of attacking Snorlax directly, like attacking the lever and sending Snorlax flying into the air. So Blue's learned to be a bit more of a creative thinker. Red's learned to be a little bit more of a careful thinker. But in the end, Red is finally triumphant. You can tell they just have mad respect for one another, and he's getting prepped to battle the Elite Four and claim the championship. Fantastic. It has everything that a children's adventure story should have. It has a boy learning to be smarter, to be more prepared. His rival is learning his good quality traits like compassion and love for those who go into battle with you. It's everything. It's everything that children's literature should be. What a fantastic series. 2 excellent high recommends from me. I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. I love you guys. Catch you later.